Hello and welcome to episode number 6 of the Fit Without the Fuss podcast. My name is Luke Melville. I'm an online fat loss transformation coach. And as always, I'm joined by sports massage therapist and coach, Darren Carroll. Darren, welcome to episode 6. Another busy day in the books actually for you today as well.
Yes. Yep. Full on busy morning, busy afternoon, busy evening.
Did you manage to train today as well?
Oh, yeah. There's always time to train.
Nice.
So, yeah, I'll always make sure there's time for that.
Nice one.
We should all be, we should all be prioritizing it. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Nice one. So just before we begin, if you guys have any questions, make sure you post them in the comment section below. And then, yes, me and Darren can obviously answer those. In today's episode, though, we're going to be talking about the beginner's guide to tracking. Okay. So if you're someone who's never tracked anything before, and this could be anything from, the gym, tracking your workouts, tracking your food, steps, sleep, any of that stuff, then again, this video is going to massively help you out. If you take on board just one or two of these tips that me and Darren are going to mention, it really will help you out going forward. And ultimately, getting you progress. Okay. So if you're someone that's, tried tracking before, it's confusing, maybe it's too much effort, maybe it's too restrictive for you. Okay. Then yes, give the full video a watch. Okay. So yeah, we'll basically start off with why tracking matters. Now, obviously for a lot of new guys, Darren, that actually start their journeys in health and fitness, wanting to lose body fat, wanting to get in shape, feel good, move good, etc. People don't really track things at the start, do they? Why do you think that is?
Well, there's a part of me thinks that they do to an extent without realizing it.
Oh, okay, that's interesting.
For example, tracking can be as basic as making sure you go to the gym 3 days a week. Now, if you're tracking, right, last week I went 3 times, this week I only went twice, you're already tracking because you've missed that third workout week 2. So week 3, you try and get back up to 3.
Nice,
so
yeah.
Actually, I think some people are tracking. They just don't realize they are tracking and what they're tracking. Because like I say, even just the number of workouts, if you're keeping that consistent, you are tracking something.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Yeah, I think it must be like a subconscious thing at the start that maybe people are doing. And then potentially when people want to try and move things forward, and often people try and progress too quickly, don't they?
Yeah.
Then tracking can sometimes actually fall by the wayside, can't it? When too quickly. If you're in sense of like, tracking, if you want to track food, if you want to track your workouts. If we start with the gym, for example, most people go into the gym, they probably have a look around and think, right, let's do the machines that I know. But in terms of like tracking the workouts and the reps and the sets, you need to really have a program, don't you? And not many people have a program at the start, do they?
No, I mean, guys, and again, that's, if we're talking about a complete beginner, they're walking into an unknown space.
Yeah.
They don't know what questions to ask even. So there's no way of, because they don't know what questions to ask, they haven't got any questions to even start and even gain some answers to get them started, really.
Yeah. No, in terms of the gym, what would you say to someone who is literally thinking about joining the gym in the next few weeks? How do they start tracking? What is the easiest thing they could do?
Going back to what I said, is just be consistent in the gym.
So just turning up.
Yep, just turning up, consistently turning up, whether that's 2, 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah.
Whatever that number is. Also, you want to start tracking when is best for you. So what's the best time of day for you to be training, whether that's your lifestyle or when you want a quiet gym or you want a busy gym. Just simple, it's just some basic, simple things like that. Because if you can start tracking those and getting those things right, then you being at the gym consistently, that's like the first part of your fitness journey, really. Just consistently showing up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then after that, what kind of phase do you feel that then people should start tracking their sort of reps, sets, weights? When does that come into play, do you think?
Oh, well, as a trainer, this, sets and reps are determined by that person's goal. So they want to establish what their goal is, because that goal starts writing your program.
Yeah.
So if we're someone who's looking at fat loss or weight loss, we're going to be looking at typically some higher reps, maybe a faster workout. Whereas someone who's looking at hypertrophy or strength, those reps might be a bit lower, might be a bit slower, a bit more methodical. So determining what's the best workout for your goal that's when we start to figure out, right, what do we want to do in terms of sets and reps.
Nice. Yeah, I really agree with that. I think, and just tracking those simple things like Darren mentioned at the start in terms of just the sessions, it just builds that self-awareness, doesn't it? You're
Yep.
you're building this almost, the foundation of your gym. And the foundation of your gym workouts is like what Darren said, it's just turning up. Because if you get in the routine of turning up, then after that, when that's consistent, then you can improve your numbers.
Yep.
But if you're not turning up consistently, if for example, if you had someone who missed 2 3 weeks and then turned up again, the numbers are not going to be improving. So unless you get those consistent gym sessions, there's no point actually tracking anything else, is there?
Yeah, and also, obviously we're talking today for absolute beginners.
Yeah.
So my attitude with absolute beginners is you're going to be, for me, you're probably going to do high rep work where from 15 to 20 repetitions. I just want you to get lots of practice on how to do everything.
Mm.
Just learn to move the body. Don't even worry about reps and weights yet, or
Yeah, yeah.
sets and weights. Just do lots and lots of practice. Learn
Mm.
what leg curl feels like. Learn what leg extension feels like. Learn what a squat feels like.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just learn to get good at those things
Yeah.
as a skill first and foremost.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things that I sort of preach at the start when people are in the gym as well is really take your time on the exercises and just perfect the form. It doesn't matter about the weight. Even if you finish the set, you get off the machine or the exercise and you feel like, oh, that was pointless. If you feel like that, it doesn't matter
Yeah,
because you've practiced, like what you said, Dan, you've practiced the form, the technique. It's
yeah,
a skill, isn't it, ultimately?
absolutely. Yeah.
And, we're just mastering those. So what happens then if people don't track ultimately? So if we turn up to the gym all the time, and then in our heads we're thinking, I think I'm progressing. A couple of months ago I was bench pressing the 20 kilo dumbbells. Now I'm on the 24s, but people are not tracking consistently enough. What do you think happens in the long term? And basically, I'm just going into that plateau effect, and the zero progress ultimately, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, um, if you're not tracking, your history tells a story. So you will see, if you're tracking, you can see a rate of progress. And that
Mm.
gives you an expectancy of what to progress going forward within a reason. So it's very, as a beginner, your progress is up there. And you really do accelerate and progress really quickly. As we get stronger and get more experienced, that starts to ease off. And we end up pretty much on a slight incline, is
Mm.
where you'll end up, where
Mm.
it can take weeks or months to make some progress if you're really, really strong. Like, yeah, you
Yeah,
look at
yeah,
the top end lifters, like the power
yeah.
lifters, they peak 2 or 3 times a year, and that's an improvement 3 times a year. So
Wow.
that progress does really slow down. But again, with
Mm.
beginners, your progress is really fast.
Mm.
But yes, you need to be tracking, because if you are not consistently doing similar things, then how can you be registering that progress and understand what has worked and what doesn't work?
Yeah. No, definitely. What would you say to someone as well? Because I've had a lot of people, I've spoke to a lot of people in the gym before who don't actually like to follow a gym program. They actually like to switch up the exercises every single session.
Yep.
Now, if you're a beginner, technically, there's probably nothing wrong with that because that's getting you into the gym, like we said before.
Yep.
But in terms of like a progression standpoint, and if you want to, progress your strength, the consistency and the results actually come from the same exercise for a while, doesn't it?
Again, as you say, if you're new to it, you're going to make progress because you're challenging the body.
Yeah.
But if you have specific goals, say, I want to get a big bench press, then your best time is going to be spent on the bench press, getting better at it, whether it's lifting heavier weight, doing more reps, getting the skill. As you get more advanced, you identify which part of your bench press is weak and what you need to work on. But yeah, I think consistency is where you are going to get rewarded with that progress. Because if you're just cherry picking exercises, at the end of that workout, if you do say 3 different workouts, workout A was one thing, workout B was another. You finish workout C, and
Yeah.
it's completely different to A and B. How do you know if you've improved if you're doing completely different things every time?
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. So obviously, in regards to the training, again, if you're starting, like Darren said, just focus on turning up. Then the second part could be I have one of the, sort of a simple area to start with if you do want to start tracking some of your lifts is just to track one exercise per session if it's, quite overwhelming for you. And usually, pick one of the compound lifts if you can, okay? Maybe like a squat, a row, a bench press, and just track that for, a month, couple of months. And then what that does is that actually makes you wonder, oh, am I progressing my other exercises? And then you actually start tracking the rest. So it's like a good knock-on effect with that. In terms of food, we'll just switch to nutrition now. Nutrition is arguably, now there's obviously mixed numbers, but it's between 70 and 80% of your result. If you are wanting to lose body fat, and also recovery for strength purposes, building muscle, etc. Where would you start people on the nutrition tracking side? Because nutrition is, like we said before, the whole health and fitness space. There's a lot of information online. Do this with you, do that. But what is actually a simple thing that people can start off with their food?
There's going to be two for me.
Okay.
One is how much water are you consuming? Now you can count that, whether it's you're going to actually track your liters, or are you going to track how many glasses of water you drink plus how many cups of tea you drink?
Yep.
Just so we don't have to be precise. Because I drank 10 glasses of water. Okay, you're still thirsty, right? We need to move that to 11. And then secondly, my second one would be protein. Now again, protein may not be how many grams per day. I might just say, right, how many servings per day?
Okay.
And just get in the habit of, we want people to be in a habit of regularly consuming protein, because we know that most of the population are not consuming enough protein. You then come into this training space, that protein requirement goes up. So we will look at where are you now. Let's say you're new to the gym space and you're eating protein once or twice a day. We're going to try and improve those numbers. So, and again, that's what it might be as simple as, right, how many protein servings are you having? We can always refine that further down the road, but let's just build this tracking just one layer at a time.
Yeah, nice one. I think you could argue of going like a step even more simpler. I think ultimately probably water is probably the first step. I probably agree with you on that one. To go even simpler with the nutrition, you could actually touch into structure actually quite early. So what you could do is you could actually focus on having meals and see if you can just reduce snacks, I think, at the start. And once we have a staple of consistent, I'm having a good breakfast, a good lunch, a good dinner. Once you get those in place and we're starting to like reduce all the snacks and, being creative with, let's see if I can eat more filling foods in these meals. And then after that, I think you're right. Then it comes into, okay, can we have a decent sized portion of protein in each meal? And then you can, ladder on with, especially with the fruit and veg and stuff like that. But yeah, I think that's one of the things where people will have protein targets, which is fine. But then there is a lot of people out there that will skip meals and probably have protein bars, protein shakes in between those meals. And, there's nothing wrong with that with overall protein intake, I guess. But I think structure is really key. And that totally depends on your lifestyle, your work pattern, what times can you eat, that type of thing. In terms of meal structure for you, Darren, is there like, for say your clients, is there a set structure, or in terms of you for meals, is it kind of, freedom and it's just all about the types of foods they're eating?
Yeah, I mean, I want to see some protein at most settings.
Yeah.
In most cases, in terms of meal timings and how many meals, that gets individual. But I try to keep things simple. I've obviously got the My Food Plate, I think it's called. Whereas,
yeah, I know.
This much protein, this much carbs, then half the plate is fruit and veg and a tiny bit of fats.
Nice. Yeah.
I think something as simple as that is a really nice place to get started.
Yeah.
And again, just because it's coming from the NHS, it almost reinforces its value for a lot of people. So they will buy into it in the short term. And by default, they will buy into us, what we're trying to advise and sell,
Yeah.
rather than because a lot of people come into this health and fitness space worrying that a trainer is going to try and turn them into the next bodybuilder. And we say,
Yeah.
right, it's plain chicken, broccoli, plain white rice. Don't touch
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. No
Which
sauces.
is far, really far from the truth. So
Yeah, no, definitely. And yeah, for you guys wondering, yeah, just literally go on the NHS website and type in, I think, yeah, it's healthy food plate or something like that. I can't remember, but just type
yeah,
in food plate, and it will come up the image that Darren's on about, with the portion of like carbs, protein, and veg. And yeah, it's really interesting. You just stick with that, and just a real simple place to start. When you sort of like get to a stage where you want to improve your nutrition, so say for example you are having 3 to 4 good meals a day, you think you're having enough protein, is that when the next level of tracking comes up in terms of actually tracking calories and actually tracking the sense of food?
um, yeah. And again, this will be client dependent because I've got a mix of clients. Some will want to count calories.
Mm.
Some will not want to count calories. That could be a whole another podcast in and of itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the counting calories, arguably there is a lot more freedom
Mm.
because you have basically a calorie allowance every day.
Yeah.
Whereas some of my clients, I take the approach of, right, let's just weigh your food.
Yeah.
So obviously, myself and plenty of my clients food prep.
Nice.
So I don't know how many calories I eat, but I can tell you how much food I cook on a Sunday for the week. And then I
Oh,
can
right.
just
Okay.
divide that by 7. So I count one set of numbers on a Sunday, and then that's it. That's my week works out. So
Oh, nice. Yeah. So it's kind of like almost like a bulk prep, I guess, for the week.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice. Yeah, I mean that's one of the ways to do it. I mean, tracking food, like I say to the guys, is like you haven't got to track food forever, to be honest. I
No.
think it's just really interesting to track your food for 1 or 2 weeks, and you'll actually be really surprised of, oh, I'm eating this much calories. I didn't realize I was actually having this low protein because you'll be
Yep.
actually really surprised. Another one is another really important area is fats as well. A lot of people, especially when they start eating clean, their fats go right down, and this
Yes.
is why they end up having midday low energy spells and just want to crash, because their fats are too low. And obviously, fats are really important for body regulation, hormones, and that type of thing. So yeah, it is really important to just maybe track your food, but you don't need to track your food forever. It's just good to do it for a period of time. I I'm not a fan of giving people meal plans
No.
because it's only my preference, but I prefer people to have that freedom and eat what they
Yep.
want to fit in the calories. And what's your view on like meal plans and structure? And again, it's just based on the goal, isn't it? Really, I guess.
So again, let's say a client is going to eat 4 times a day.
Yeah.
I might say to them, right, okay, we're going to have. So what will do is I'll issue food lists.
Okay.
So I'll do a sheet of paper and it will list all these proteins.
Hmm.
And it'll go, this much chicken, this much beef equates to 25 grams of protein. And I'll do that for carbohydrates and I'll do it for fats.
Okay.
Then what I'll do is I'll say, right, with those lists, I want you to make up 4 meals a day. Now, on each meal, I want there to be 1 serving of protein at each meal. Let's say they're just plug someone out there, they're doing some weight loss. I'm going to say, right, let's do some carbohydrates in the morning meal. Let's do some carbohydrates in the post-workout meal, and then take carbohydrates out of the last 2. And then it's going to be 2 servings of fruit and or veg from the list. So basically what I do is I give them a list of all the foods and they can pick and move those foods around. Right, I'm going to have that protein with that carb with those 2 veg today.
Right. Okay. See.
That writes that meal.
Nice.
So I control the amounts, but I almost color code it. So
Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
one from the red list, one from the yellow list, 2 from the green list.
Nice.
So
Yeah, that's a good way of doing it, to be honest, isn't it?
yeah,
And they've got the freedom then to literally pick.
yeah, they can
You
pick
know.
and choose their food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. We will give them that, still give them a lot of freedom of choice.
Mm.
And then another thing which I think is really important is learn to utilize herbs and spices.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a list of what we call polyphenols,
Oh, right. Okay.
which is super nutrient foods.
Mm.
But it's all herbs and spices. So it's things like lemon juice, lemon zest, garlic, ginger, oregano, thyme, blueberries,
Nice.
all
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
But again, I try and list all those. So I actually give them some options of herbs and spices they can chuck over all that protein or the carbs.
Yeah.
So it isn't that plain, boring, bland food, but we're using these good nutrients to actually making that meal even healthier and
Yeah.
tastier. So
Yeah, no, that's a really good point.
yeah,
I think as well, if you incorporate some of those, like Darren said, seasonings, you can even get some like low, if you wanted to be more flexible, the low calorie sauces as
yeah,
well. I've done something before where it's kind of, we've gone around the world basically. So we look at all the Asian
yeah,
spices, the Asian soy sauce, soy sauce, all that kind of stuff is really, really good. Then, you touch into like the Americas with like all the barbecue. And then touch into the Europe with like the oregano of like Italy, mozzarella, and loads of different stuff. And
yeah,
when people are aware of that, they actually think, oh, there is actually loads of choice. But I think
yeah.
people get really caught up in eating and tracking the same foods all the time, and
Oh yeah.
it just makes it really hard, doesn't it, to eat the same foods?
But what's funny is, how many clients have you had who said, "Oh, I don't want to eat chicken and rice,"
Mm.
but they absolutely love a Friday night curry?
Yeah.
No offense, that's just glorified chicken and
Yeah,
rice.
it is. Yeah, I was going to say.
All
Yeah,
you've done is just put a nice sauce on it, so
yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah,
do the same.
yeah.
Just you can just be smarter about it. So
I mean, there is, isn't there? Because if you look at, like a Thai curry dish, an
yeah.
Indian curry, um, what's the, I want to say what's the Mexican rice with the beans in? Sometimes that has like beef or chicken in.
Oh, like a burrito, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, again, it's just the meat and rice together, isn't
Yeah,
it? Like paella, which is the
yeah,
Spanish one, which again, it's rice and meat.
yeah.
So there, again, it's just loads of different versions around the world, isn't it? Really,
Absolutely,
of
yeah,
just
yeah,
protein and carbs, and it's just
yeah,
the same things. So again, it's just having that awareness, just to think, right, what am I going to eat this week? Let's switch up a little bit, but stick to the plan. So yeah, nutrition. Then just recapping that one again. If you guys want to start really, really simply, just start by tracking your water. Start off by tracking, the structure of your meals, how many meals consistently you want to hit per day, and then, like Darren said, the protein. Just make sure you hit, a consistent amount of good protein in each meal, and then that will massively help your goals. Just touching into calories quickly as well. Um, Calories are one of those where if someone gives you meal plans, for example, the calories are done. You don't need to think about it. You just need to weigh your foods. Happy days. So in a way, that's a benefit.
yeah,
But then with the calories, we said as well, there is that freedom to pick and choose what you want.
yeah,
Um, People do have cravings, don't they? A sweet tooth or a savory tooth,
yeah,
whatever it is. So that's why it's good sometimes to have that freedom and think, right, I have a sweet tooth. I might have a low calorie hot chocolate every evening
yeah.
with some
Yeah, I mean,
marshmallows on.
I know plenty of people who count calories. They give themselves that 400 or 500 calorie deficit to ensure weight loss.
Mm,
But of that remaining calories, 20% is for spending on whatever they want,
yeah.
whatever
Yeah,
that
yeah.
number may be. And it might be it's a bar of chocolate.
Mm,
But if they're in a deficit, if they're in a calorie deficit,
mm.
then they're still going to lose weight. Although they're eating the chocolate, they still had that satisfaction of eating some chocolate.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. And calories are basically it's basically like money, isn't it? You're basically
yeah,
saving your money, and you want to spend your money wisely. Though you don't want to just spend all your money at the start of the month and have nothing left for the rest of the month. It's
yeah.
the same with the calories in the day. You want to spend them wisely. So treat your calories like money, and I think that will massively change it for you as well. In terms of sleep, just tracking sleep. Sleep's obviously a huge one. If you're not sleeping right, fat loss and muscle building becomes very, very hard. The body, raises stress levels, cortisol, and weight loss, muscle building is very hard if you're not sleeping enough, and the quality of your sleep. For me, at the start, if you're tracking sleep, it's probably good to just make a note of how many hours roughly you're getting per night. Just roughly, don't force any sleep. You've mentioned before about the sleeping trackers, Darren, and that you didn't actually rate them because clients were overthinking about their sleep, which was
Yeah,
causing less
yeah,
sleep, wasn't it? I think you said.
yeah.
How do you go about sleep? Sort of tracking sleep.
So similar to you, I'm interested in how many hours
Yep.
someone's getting, but also I have them give a 1 to 10 sleep score.
Nice, nice.
So, you know, and then I'll
Is that
follow
on
up
sleep
question.
quality? Is it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Do you feel rested in the morning?
Oh, okay, fine.
And then, follow up with a question, give you some indication. If it was a low score, why do you think that is?
Yeah,
Or if there's a high score, what are we doing to get that high score? And what do we need to keep repeating?
yeah.
which again is back to our tracking.
Mm.
What is working and what isn't working.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if sleep's something that you suffer with or you find very difficult, then I think you just need to probably sit down and just think to yourself, have a little quiet moment and think, right, what ultimately is stopping my sleep? Is it stress from work, stress from outside scenarios? Is there, you know, disturbance in the night potentially? You know, is something causing you to wake up? Sometimes there are other things, family.
Yeah.
There might be other things as well. But Darren, do you have any tips for people to improve their sleep? For me, I mean, I'll go first. Just an evening routine. I would put down for sleep is key. If you can get in a routine of spending just 30 minutes before you go to bed every night, preferably at the same time, in just creating like a wind down routine, that massively helps sleep. Sleep is quite complex, though. Obviously, it's not very simple. But yeah, what would you
Yeah.
say about sleep, Darren? Any tips?
Yeah. So I want people to get into a relaxed state.
Yeah.
Again, similar to what you're saying, where some people will have a routine is what
Mm.
gets them into a relaxed state.
Yep.
Other people, it's a case of just brush your teeth, go and read for half an hour.
Mm.
Um, but again, another thing, obviously, like avoiding any stimulus. So
Yeah.
whether it's your
That's a big one,
screen,
actually.
whether it's other people, I'm not
Yeah.
saying don't talk to your partner, but I'm saying just make it light chat. Don't start having a deep conversation and start planning out weekends or sorting out
Yeah.
your finances just before bed.
Definitely. Nothing too heavy, stimulating. I mean, even like
Yeah,
your last caffeinated drink, for example, needs to be at a sensible time, doesn't it, really?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because caffeine's got what half life for what 12 hours is it? I think.
Yeah, I think it's normally like 8 to 12 hours, depending on the person. Usually, a 2, 3 p.m. cut off time is usually okay.
Yeah,
Is usually okay, to be honest, with that one. Just touching into body weight, tracking body weight. A lot of people don't like tracking body weight for obvious reasons.
yeah,
Other people would just track it once a week, every day, loads of ways to track your body weight. Um, Body weight is just a measuring tool. Okay. Keep body weight really simple. It's just a measuring tool. You can
yeah,
measure, have measurements, put, a tape round, hips, thighs, also another way to measure yourself. Clothes sizes is another way to measure yourself. Taking photos of yourself is another way to measure. Body weight is just another tool. Okay. You don't have to, stand on the scale once a week, every day, but it's good to see the data. What would you say about tracking body weight, Darren?
So I believe people should, but as you said, I'll really reiterate that it is just a number
Mm,
because you will have had this and I've had it. I've had people in their tracking photos look better and their weight has not changed.
yeah, exactly that.
Simply, I've had people look better and their weight has gone up.
Mm,
Um, so again, it's a useful piece of data, but in association with other things
yeah.
and in context as well. So we touched on this in the past where we spoke about women's weight fluctuations across a month.
Yes.
I think it's useful for a woman for 1 month, 4 weeks, to weigh every day for 4 weeks and actually understand that she does have a cycle and what does her weight do within that cycle.
Mm,
And then we compare day one with day 29 for that fair test rather than try and track day one, compare it's 9 to 16 to 23. I think it's important that women learn that they do have weight fluctuations. So if
yeah.
we can understand and appreciate that early on, then it creates some context around weighing in the future.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think, with body weight, there's so many factors to it as well. So you can't just rely on the 1 week. It needs to be over the longer term. I mean, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to throw out a list of things that can affect your body weight. Okay. I'm just going to go on and on with this list. And then at the end of it, you'll think, wow, yeah, body weight can just move anywhere. Calorie surplus or a deficit, okay, can change your body weight. Too much processed foods, okay, high salt, high sodium, lack of activity, hormonal changes, like Darren said, taking new supplements, okay, creatine, for example, body weight will go up. Hold water. Medications can actually make you hold water, even lose water weight. Lack of sleep, tired, low energy, dehydration, stress, illness. If you're new to the gym, new exercises, again, going to be holding on to a little bit of water weight for recovery, heavier, tougher workouts, inflammation, injuries, soreness. Again, especially with the legs, half your body. If you've injured, your thigh, for example, or your glutes, you're going to hold a lot of water around there. It's going to bump body weight up. And also eating late the night before. If you eat late the night before, it's probably going to affect your body weight in the morning. I mean, that's just some of the reasons, Darren, but there's so many, aren't there? So many.
Another one to think of just now. Obviously, we're here in the UK. This is week 10 of this really hot spell.
Yeah. That's really
Most of us are walking around dehydrated.
Mm.
So when it starts to cool down, some of us are probably going to see our weight go up because we start holding a bit more water.
Mm. Yeah, that's
And
interesting. Actually, yeah.
you've done nothing. That's just the weather changing.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good shout, actually. Yeah, that would be interesting, actually, because like you said, when it, I mean, in the UK, you can click your fingers and it'll be icy cold next week.
yeah.
And yeah, people will be dehydrated, holding on to more water, like you said. But yeah, it's really interesting. So in terms of, body weight, again, it's totally up to you, but track your body weight just once a week, just note it down. You can do it every day and take an average for 7 days if you want to. What's your advice on taking body weight every day and doing an average for 7 days? Is that, I mean, I wouldn't really recommend it unless they wanted to, clients wanted
I would do it for 2 to 4 weeks tops.
What's that? What, every day?
Yep, but just as a learning tool.
Right, okay. And then after you know roughly.
Yep, because again, I think again it's useful for everyone to understand that your weight can go up and down day to day.
Yeah.
What we're looking at as coaches and across, in terms of if your goal is weight gain or weight loss, it fluctuates up and down daily. But so you need to learn to be looking at trends.
Yeah.
So you may have day on day, you may have gained a pound, but across that week, you may have lost 3 pounds. And it's just that day to day fluctuation. So it's understanding that there is a difference between daily and trends.
Yeah.
And it's the trends is what we're looking at mainly.
Yeah, and this is simply why we just track the numbers, isn't it? We track the data just so we can see these trends to help you out. And last one, to track, if you can. And a lot of people don't track this, but it's stress. Now, stress is another complex area. There's so many things that can trigger stress, reduce stress. But all I do once a week is just get a simple stress rating. That's all I do. You can normally tell from just a simple rating itself. What's your thoughts on stress, Darren? Because obviously stress affects body weight and everything really.
Yeah, it's a big one. Especially depending on, we see it all the time. It will stop people getting to the gym. Yeah. So straight away that's a barrier to achieving your goal. Obviously, yes, there are things that take precedence and priority. There's no doubt about it. But you caught me off guard because it's not actually one I track and probably should.
Yeah.
Normally, you can pick up on it, especially obviously I see a lot of people face to face. You pick up on it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
When they are stressed. So I will, in some cases, especially face to face, adjust a workout for people.
Yeah.
Where if I've got a strength workout planned and they're coming stressed, I'm not going to put them under a heavy bar, trying for 3 reps as heavy as possible on the squat.
Yeah.
Right. Instead, we're just going to lift some weight. We're going to bang out 20 leg presses, go get some regression out.
Yeah.
Let's just have you feeling better. Let's use this time to actually de-stress.
Yeah. And this is the importance of the gym, isn't it? It makes you feel so much better, isn't it?
And again, when I'm treating people here on the table, I start treating people and they just start talking and they just get all their shit off their chest.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do become a bit of a punch bag for people, but they leave the treatment feeling better, which is the end. Yeah, and again, you can feel that sometimes you can feel that in their bodies as they start talking, they get the anger out and you can almost feel them relaxing under your hands. So
yeah. Well, yeah, I bet that's interesting.
But yeah, stress is a huge factor in all of this health and fitness stuff. So
yeah, it's huge. I think just one little simple rating, in a check-in once a week, massively helps. Seeing on the charts as well, again, when their stress levels go high. I have some clients, when they hit around 5 out of 10, for them, that's high stress levels, and then they go back to 1 and 2. I've got other clients that are 7 and 8, and then they go down to 4 and 3, and it just proves that everyone's at these different levels. At some levels, it just doesn't affect people. At other levels, it literally changes their whole life.
We could all have thrown the same challenge thrown at us and have very different responses.
Yeah.
Some of us will brush it off our shoulders and some of us are going to freak out. So
Yeah. That's a really good point. I've actually missed this one, but we'll go into it quickly. Steps, tracking steps as well. This is obviously a big one actually, because a lot of people just start off with, oh, I need to do 10,000 steps.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're in an office job and they probably come home with 3 or 4 thousand done, and they have to get another 6, 7 thousand late in the evening. Is steps something that you get your guys to track, Darren?
Steps, no.
No.
I I'm very wary of tracking too many numbers.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But what I will do is I'd rather just tell someone to go for a walk for a period of time.
Right. Okay. So walk in
I
minutes,
know
basically,
that
something like that.
we know that 10 minutes equates to approximately 1,000 steps as an
Right. Okay.
average. So
Okay.
I will just walk for time. Obviously, across a whole day, that's difficult.
Yeah.
But again, like for some people, at the end of the day, just go for a walk. Use that as part of your wind down. Use that, bring your stress down. Use that as part of your wind end of day sequence.
Yeah.
Um,
No,
yeah, again, it will come down to the client, down to the variables.
I
Where they
think
want to put that time
steps
in.
is steps can be a good one actually, if especially if you have different days of movement. So if you have a high
Yeah.
activity day and a low activity day, and you're eating the same amount of calories, I think that's when it's good to throw in a step target, just so you're moving consistently every single day. Because, if, for example, every day was different for you and you had 5 days this week of sat down at a desk, but your calories were at, say, 2,000, then, yeah, you might, or 2.5, 3,000, then you might actually gain weight because you haven't moved. But if we had the steps target there, that would actually keep you in the deficit. So, yeah, there are, benefits to steps. And also, you don't need a step target. Like Darren said, you can have just a walk-in minutes target. Go out, get fresh air. And obviously, there's so many benefits to that one. Any last words, Darren, on tracking?
Let's look at this from a therapy perspective now, or
Yeah.
a rehab perspective. A couple of things I'll have people track is pain. And again, for a lot of people, pain will be their barrier to stop them in fitness. Well, pain doesn't necessarily mean there's something wrong. Yes, there is pain and there is an issue, but pain doesn't necessarily have to be the barrier to stop you exercising. So I will track pain in two ways. Day to day, what is your average pain level? So let's keep an eye on that. But similarly, let's say you suffer with knee pain. I would still have you in the gym training legs, but I'll be looking at, right, what exercises are causing pain, how much pain, but then also how well can I move pain free? So I will have some people do some very, very shallow squats where their knees may be barely bending, but we're starting to squat. If they can do that consistently, we may see that squat get deeper and lower as they get stronger, but the pain level hasn't changed.
Right. Okay.
So I think it's really important we understand that just because they're in pain, that's not necessarily a reason not to exercise.
Fine. Each week, say if someone does have pain and they're training in the gym, is it probably wise for someone who wants to start tracking their pain to make sure it's reducing? Is it worth them giving themselves a weekly rating, or is it worth still progressing their gym with the pain?
So in the gym, obviously pick the exercises that are relevant and just keep a pain score of various exercises. If there's an exercise that's causing 10 out of 10, let's avoid that, but can we swap it for something else?
Fine.
So again, we're talking about knee pain. If the squat was causing 10 out of 10, what does the leg extension cause? Does that cause 10 out of 10 or does it cause less? What does the leg press cause? If a leg press causes 3 out of 10, then chances are I'm going to have you training on that. Let's bring that down to 0 out of 10. And let's go and revisit the squat in a couple of weeks and see where it's at now.
Nice. Yeah. So basically, after each set, it's just worth putting a number down, 1 to 10 after the set of just what it was, basically.
Yep. And again, see what the variable is. Sometimes it's the speed of the rep.
Yeah,
sometimes
that's
it's
true.
how many reps. Sometimes it's the weight of the rep. So
yeah. No, I was going to say actually, because when you do set 1, even for someone like myself who doesn't really have pain, but sometimes my warm-up sets, I could be feeling like, oh, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
But set number 1 and 2 are usually kind of like the warming up. And by set 3, you could actually have no pain by then.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably quite common, isn't it? Pain in the first couple of sets, and then all of a sudden no pain because you've actually warmed up, but you've probably warmed up properly. Incorrectly, if you know what I mean.
And again, most of us need warming up. So
Yeah.
especially if you
Yeah.
age, especially if you get older, it definitely needs to be warming up.
Yeah.
But most of my warm ups will be practicing the thing you were going to do.
Yeah. Just
Best way,
really light body weight, basically.
best way to warm up for squats is squats,
Yeah.
and just progressively get heavier up to your working load. So
Do you do anything else with like resistance bands or like mobility in terms of, sitting in a deep squat for about a minute? Is there any benefits to all that or not really?
sometimes changing
Yeah.
from person to person. I'm not a fan of static stuff pre-workout.
Oh, why is that?
Static stretching is considered to reduce strength up to 20% for a period of time.
Oh, wow.
So I prefer dynamic.
Okay. That's
I
interesting.
might do, so let's say we're talking about squats. I
Yeah.
might do, say, a pause squat. So I'll sit down at the bottom for 5 seconds and drive back out.
Yeah.
Nothing longer than 20 seconds. Like I say, there's some research saying that it actually causes some short-term weakness.
Oh, that's interesting. So
Yeah.
for the guys that are doing, say, really getting a stretch on their reps, what does that, or is it a stretch for a long time that causes that?
So we've got to make sure we're talking about what we're talking about. So let's say you're sitting deep in the bottom of a squat
Yeah.
and you were just sat there holding it. Are you actually, is the muscle holding you or is the muscle disengaged?
Oh, okay. I see.
Because if you're down and you're keeping tight in the hamstrings and the quads, the
Yeah.
muscle's still engaged and working.
Yeah.
If you're just sat on your heels, just resting there, that's just a stretch.
Right. Okay.
So
I see
again,
what you
this
mean.
is where mobility varies from stretching.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it does depend on the mobility as well, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Especially with all the stretch and stuff. Oh, that's interesting. So yeah, okay, that's a really good point to make, especially on the pain side, is just give yourself a simple rating after each set
Yeah.
you do, and that will be a massive benefit. Last question on the strength side. So the guys that are wanting to get stronger, what is the best way to start if you want to start tracking your lifts to gain strength? You hear a lot about the 5x5s and 3x3s and all that kind of stuff. Is that all noise at the start? Should you focus on something more simpler, or should you go with the 5x5s and make sure it's light?
No, start with just get that skill level up. Practice, practice, practice.
The technique, yeah.
Yep. You're in the first few months, you're going to get stronger. Whatever rep scheme, set scheme, whatever you use, you're going to progress. It's when that starts to stall, then you've got to think that a little bit smarter and go, right, what programs are out there that suit the progress I want to be making?
Yeah, yeah. That's a good shout, to be fair.
Yeah.
And again, there's so many programs out there. What's one of your favorite strength programs, Darren?
So strength programs, I'm just in
One,
my third phase of 531.
oh, okay. Yeah, yeah.
But
Let us know exactly what that is again.
so 531, it's a 4 week cycle, strength cycle.
Yep.
It was developed by, I think it was Jim Wendler out of somewhere called Westside Barbell. Basically, he was a guy who was getting older, was struggling with recovery. So he developed a thing which is 531. So week one is 3 sets of 5. Week two is 3 sets of 3. Week three is a set of 5, a set of 3, and a set of 1.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And then week four is back to 3 sets of 5, but a much lower rest percentage. So it has rests planned in, scheduled into it. Now, in all
right, okay.
4 weeks, you're lifting 3 sets, but they're all at certain percentages of what we call your training max,
That's interesting.
which isn't the same as your 1 rep max.
Mm. Oh, wow.
So again, I'm a fan of it because as we get older, recovery becomes more of a challenge.
Yep.
But you are getting stronger, but you're getting stronger at lower percentages. We're not trying to hit 100%.
Mm.
You're trying to improve your 95%.
Yeah.
So 95% is much easier to recover from than 100%.
Yeah, no,
And
definitely.
again, this is one of the things that as you get more experienced, you will soon realize you cannot train at 100% every week.
Yeah.
The body just can't sustain it.
Yeah.
Training at 80 to 90% is more sustainable and you're going to more likely see progress. So if my 90% is gradually going up, by default, my 100% has to be going up anyway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my max is going up without me ever having to train it.
Yeah.
Or unless I decide to go and say compete in something where I've got to have to do my max, I will save my max effort for them.
Nice, yeah. When just to give a gauge of people when they're in the gym, is 100% max effort literally, when you go to failure, is that basically 100% max effort, or is that actually a spotter letting you grind out that extra rep, when you wouldn't have
Um,
got it? It's kind of like a grey area, isn't it? Like that
Here's what
100%
I'm
error.
talking. I think there's two different types of failure. There is form failure and there is muscle failure, which are two different things.
Yeah.
So certainly at the beginning, I would be stopping people at form failure
Mm.
purely because I don't want them learning bad habits. And in the early stages, it's going to be easier to hurt yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
With more
Yeah, that's true.
experience, then you can start to go to beyond that form failure and start going more to muscle failure.
Yeah.
That just comes with practice and experience and confidence. So,
Yeah, definitely. And then that comes in with like half reps, partials at the end, and all that kind of advanced stuff
yep.
as well. Getting in. So yeah, no, that was really interesting. Is there any other points you wanted to cover, Darren, or is that everything?
No, I think we covered it.
Yeah.
I think the thing is just with tracking, just start small and just get in the habit of, again, we've talked about habits in the past. Just focus on a couple of things. Don't focus on too many things all at once.
Mm.
Build it all up in layers. So,
Yeah, literally, yeah. And if there's something that you really want to improve, and this could be anything, food, training, whatever it is, if you really want to improve it, then you must measure it. Okay, you can't improve what you can't measure, basically. Okay, so but yes. That's all from us in this episode. So the links to our social medias and websites are in the description below. So make sure you check those out. If you've made it this far into the video, make sure you drop a like. And yeah, me and Darren would both really appreciate that. Subscribe if you haven't already. And we will see you next Monday at 8 p.m. live. See you soon.
see you later.